In a quiet classroom where every heartbeat could be the last, a ticking clock counted down to an irreversible change. 7 pairs of eyes watched as a wounded figure fought not for survival, but to leave something vital behind. A final lesson carved from desperation. Trapped between a spreading wound and the muffled sounds beyond the door, ordinary tools became weapons. Textbooks transformed into armor, scribbled maps into lifelines. But when the last strategy is scribbled on the board, and whispers creep closer with each breath, what happens when time runs out before the lesson ends? The teacher knew time was running out. The wound on the leg throbbed with a heat that only meant one thing: there wasn't long before the change would begin. The children needed to move. Fast. There were only 7 left now, eyes wide with fear, watching every movement with the kind of silence that only came from shock. The teacher reached for the whiteboard and started sketching. A quick map of the school, the gym, the teacher's lounge, points of interest, paths that might still be clear. The leg pulsed again. A strip of fabric tightened over the bite, a poor attempt to delay the inevitable. There wasn't time for panic, only planning. The teacher handed out thick textbooks, one by one. A book cover was torn apart, stripped of its pages. One was taped to the forearm of the one who always stepped forward in a crisis. It wasn't just for learning now, it was protection. A shield. The teacher lunged forward slowly, mimicking the kind of attack they all feared. The leader blocked with the makeshift shield. The demonstration worked. As the figure leaned in, teeth bared, the book absorbed the bite. Then came the trick, slipping the arm free and leaving the shield behind. An escape tactic, simple but vital. The others watched, then got to work. More books, more shields. For a brief moment it felt like craft time. That memory stung, the way they adapted so easily. 2 small figures tugged at the shirt's hem. The quiet pair. One pointed at the board. The exit marked near the east hallway didn't sit right. The other opened a worn notebook, revealing a sketch. The hallway had been remodeled. What was once a door was now a wall. A bathroom stood where an exit used to be. That was a miss. A big one. The twins took the marker and fixed it. Across the room, the leader began helping the younger ones. She handed out finished shields and checked each for strength. Outside the room, a noise scraped the floor. Everyone froze. The blinds were down. That was standard. But something scraped and dragged beyond the door. Then came the voice. A drawn-out moan, a question, a call, growl. That was the name they'd given the creatures. Whispers called them that first. The name stuck. They wandered, calling for others, asking with slurred voices that echoed through the halls. This one was close. Then it struck the door. Bang, silence, again, bang, silence. It kept calling. The smallest child was pulled into an embrace by the leader. Another laid a hand on her back. Support in its purest form. The teacher gestured to one of the boys, the one always caught with a phone, the kind who always had it, even when he shouldn't. No time for rules now. That device was a weapon if used right. A plan formed. The teacher wrote a number on the board and pointed, then gestured to the strongest boy, the one who used to play baseball. He would make the throw. He crouched near the teacher, glancing between the door and the wound. The phone was handed over. The hallway sloped near the art wing. Gravity would help carry the sound far enough. A silent countdown. The door cracked open. A quick throw. The phone slid away. The door slammed shut. The student dialed the number. The ringtone echoed. The sound outside shifted. The creature paused. Another whimper, a shuffle, then silence. The teacher slumped into the chair, exhausted. Heat rose through the leg. The pain was pulsing now. Everything spun slightly. The children watched, unsure, afraid. The leader stepped forward. She asked what came next. Instructions were given. Look out for each other. Stay safe. Keep learning. Somewhere in the world, safety might still exist. Maybe. One spoke up. A home with space, a garden, preserved food. She wasn't one to speak in front of the others, but now she stood tall. They were all changing, growing right before the teacher's eyes. There was no way to follow. That wasn't the role anymore. The mission had always been to prepare them. Now the time had come. The teacher pointed to the board. One last glance at the route. No mistakes this time. 5 more minutes. They nodded. Brave faces. They were ready. One by one they stepped out. The strong one guarded the smallest. The shield was held high by the thinker. The twins had the new map. The phone collector emptied the confiscation box. The leader stood firm, confident. Before leaving, she repeated the phrase once more, the phrase that had become their anchor. They didn't panic. They planned. When the last of them disappeared down the hall, the teacher gazed at the empty room for a few seconds. Blood pooling below the chair, quiet and slow. Something caught his attention in the corner of his vision. A sweater sat forgotten at a desk. They would need it when it is night, when it is cold. They will need it, he thought to himself. With effort, the teacher stood and picked it up. He opened the door slightly. Would they hear if he called after them? He opened his mouth and called out. A growl, the only sound that could escape his voice. What do you think happened to the teacher next? Leave your comments below on your thoughts. Like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell for more content like this.